Welcome back. We are live, and our guests today are talking about how you survive when the odds are overwhelming. How do you thrive? How do you persevere through adversity? Country music star and New York Times bestselling author of Like a River, Granger Smith is here along with his wife, Amber, in a daytime exclusive, sharing their life in the aftermath of losing their son, River, in 2019 after a tragic drowning accident. Why did you feel you were ready now to come out publicly, especially on television? Why was this the right time?
Well, as we kind of navigated these waters over the last several years, we learned quickly that by telling our story and hearing other people watch us be vulnerable, and then they started feeling the healing from our story, we felt purpose in that. And so that slowly gained momentum as we thought, you know what, that we could keep River's legacy alive by telling our story and showing that there is purpose on the other side of pain.
You use the word vulnerable, and it takes me to what you said was happening in the aftermath. You went back on the road, 3 weeks after River's death, to really support your team. You know, you're trying to put on the front, right? You're the lead, you're the guy, you're the star, and all of these other families depend on you to show up, and you did. But you were suffering from what you said was the slideshow. I know what the slideshow is. Explain it to our audience.
Yeah, it happens in extreme tragedy or PTSD, grief, when something happens in your mind that you cannot comprehend. It's something so far out there you can't possibly understand it. So your brain, and this is my explanation from all that I've thought about it, your brain puts together these images back to back to back to try to calculate, how do we finish this loop? There's got to be an end to this loop somewhere. And so it just runs it through your mind. And it's for me, it was like River face down in the pool. EMTs arrive. We're at the hospital. Doctors come in and say, there's no chance of him coming back from this. 0% chance of survival. We're telling the kids, my son Lincoln's hands on the casket. And it's just repeating.
Like a slideshow.
Like a slideshow. And my brain's going, we have to figure out how to fix this. And there is no fix, and so it just continues.
And in the midst of this slideshow, you are still trying to be strong and perform.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that picture, packed house, but inside you're empty.
Oh, yeah.
This seems surreal.
Yeah, there would be a moment just like this when the slideshow would start. There's River's face down in the pool.
While you're on stage?
Oh, yeah. In the middle of a conversation with somebody, in the middle of the night, wakes me up in the middle of the night. At any time, it could come into my head.
And I know you were on this loop, and then one night you decided, because you just would perform and go straight to the room.
Yeah.
But you decided, I'm going to go out and try to hang out with the guys and relax. And something triggers. And you write in the book, with trembling hands, I fumbled through the drawer in my closet, and I found it, my 9mm Glock.
Yeah. Yeah, we're about 6 months after we lost Riv. The endless slideshow. I had done some things, maybe therapy had taught me some things. I had figured out a few ways to kind of diffuse it a little bit. I was feeling okay, I was feeling better. And one night, specifically in Boise, that night, it felt normal. We had a pretty good show. I didn't think about the slideshow almost the whole show on stage. I got off, the band said, "You want to go have a couple drinks?" And I said, absolutely, that sounds amazing. Feel normal again, be with my boys again. Took a few shots, felt a little tipsy, walked back to the bus, and I thought, oh no, this is the first time I've felt tipsy since, oh no. The slideshow came back. And then I thought, oh no, in this inebriated state, I won't be able to slow down the slideshow. I won't be able to control it with these mechanisms that therapy taught me. And so I thought, there's no way, there's no hope, there is no way. And so I reached for the one place that I knew could stop it. And that was with that gun.
You're here.
Praise God.
You didn't do it.
No.
Amber. Amber, I heard you faintly say, that's God. He didn't tell you about this 3.5 years later, And when I read the book, he talks about in the culture, especially with men, you're weak if you think about this. It's embarrassing, as you said in your book, to know that he was hiding this because he was afraid that people would say he's weak, that he wasn't strong for the family. How did you feel?
Terrible. He called me and told me on the phone because it was going to come out in the book, and I just cried and said, I'm so sorry you had to go through that alone. Because I knew he was grieving, but I didn't ever think it was going to get to that point. And so that just goes to show you don't know what somebody is dealing with and holding and hiding. And I didn't know it. It was that dark.
There's not a more shameful thing a man could go through. I think there's nothing more shameful than admitting I couldn't do it. Do what? Life. I couldn't do it.
How do you process it now without the shame?
Well, that's because of what saved me that night. Because that night, as I felt like this is the way to end it all. In fact, I felt a voice that was not my own conscience that was saying, this is the way. This is the way to rest. This is the way to finally end the peace. The audience is clapping, but I don't misunderstand what I meant. That wasn't a good voice.
Yeah.
That was a voice saying, this is how you finally find peace. Pull the trigger. That was the voice. That makes it a lot different, right?
Yeah.
And so then that makes it a lot different with what I heard next, with what I felt. I said, Jesus, save me. Jesus, save me. And the slideshow went away. The feeling stopped. I dropped the gun on the bed. I fell on the floor, and I ended up sleeping in all my clothes on the floor of my bus that night. But that next morning, I woke up thinking, why did that phrase, Jesus save me, stop the slideshow? Why did it end all those horrible feelings? Why did it stop that voice that said, this is how you rest? And so that began a new journey for me.
Yes, it did.
Who is Jesus?